Hey guys, my name is Timio, and today I want to take a look at Escape from Tarkov. The more and more I learn about this game, the more excited I get about it, because it looks like it's going to be that realistic survival game that I've always wanted. I realize there's been a lot of survival games recently that have promised the world and absolutely fallen short. H1Z1, DayZ, and while Escape from Tarkov may be no different, they may be a developer that is also promising all these awesome features, but from what they've outlined here and what they've kind of showcased so far, this game is shaping up and looking like it could be absolutely incredible. And so at its core, Escape from Tarkov is a realistic survival RPG. And when I initially learned that it was going to have RPG elements, I was a little skeptical on how that was going to impact the gameplay. If you've ever seen any of the action that they've illustrated in a couple of their videos, people die very, very quickly. You know, your weapons have a lot of recoil, so it might be difficult to be able to line a shot against someone. But at the end of the day, from my understanding, it sounds like weapons are going to hit hard because they are going for that hardcore realism. And so when I learned there was going to be RPG elements, I thought to myself, how is that gonna impact anything? How is that gonna impact the gameplay whatsoever if everyone is dying very, very quickly? Well, it sounds like the way that they're handling it is that you're going to be leveling up your character as you progress. And even if you die, that progression is going to continue when you respawn. And so there's going to be this continuous progression along the way. And so at least to the best of my knowledge, the way that they're infusing these RPG elements is that when you do certain actions in this world, it's going to increase your skills in different categories. There's going to be mental skills, which will increase your intelligence and charisma. There's combat skills, so if you want to be a kick-ass soldier that's awesome with all sorts of weapons, then you're probably going to want to participate in PvP and PvE action. This will make it so that you reload faster, you have an easier time managing the recoil and all that kind of stuff, and so even when you die, maybe you won't have that awesome loot. And there is loot in this game, which is really, really cool. We'll get to that here in a second. You may not have that awesome gun that you got from a raid, and there are apparently raids in this game because someone came over and killed you, shot in the face, and then looted off your body, but you'll still have the skills. Your character, when you respawn on in, will still have the knowledge and the ability that when they do get a new gun, they'll be able to use it and manage the recoil much easier than someone who just jumped into the game for the very first time. And so that's how they're kind of incorporating the RPG elements into a game that apparently is going to be very, very brutal. As for the loot-based system, one thing that I've been very impressed by so far is that it actually makes the world feel more alive compared to a lot of other survival games out there. You look over at H1Z1 and DayZ, maybe this is just because of the aesthetic that they've incorporated into their game, but a lot of the time you just see random weapons scattered around the map in an empty shell of a house, and it's not very believable. When you watch the videos of Escape from Tarkov, it really looks like you're entering into an organic and live environment where things are just left abandoned because this city has been abandoned. You walk into a room, there is loot scattered everywhere. A lot of it is going to be completely useless, but if you have a keen eye, you're going to find the different items that is actually going to be useful to you. You're going to be able to find the food. You're going to be able to find the key that unlocks the door that has a special item in it. And as long as you're observant to your surroundings, you're going to be able to find this loot and progress your character. If you do die, and it sounds like you're going to die a lot in Escape from Tarkov, that doesn't mean that you're going to start at ground zero with relation to loot. Much like the RPG elements where you're slowly leveling your character along the way, you can also stash in safe houses kind of side loot so that when you do die, you can run on over and at least have a character that's not completely naked and starting from the very beginning. There's also going to be insurance merchants. I know how silly this might sound, but there's also going to be merchants that will sell you insurance so that if you lose all of your loot, let's say you had some really kick-ass gear, it will give you the money equivalent of that so that you can go over to a merchant and hopefully buy something that is of equivalent value. And so it sounds like there is going to be this steady progression along the way that's going to be pushing you towards endgame. It might be very brutal, it might be very slow, especially for someone who dies constantly, but there is going to be this slow progression that's going to allow you to hopefully reach the end of the game. Speaking of endgame, it sounds like there's not only going to be raids, but there's going to be PvP clan wars. The clan wars sound badass. To the best of my knowledge, your clan might get a mission to go on over to a warehouse to clear it out, but there also might be another clan that got a very similar mission to defend that warehouse. They're basically just trying to facilitate and get PvP going on. So all of a sudden you're thinking that one thing is happening, and all of a sudden a PvP event kind of comes in out of nowhere and slaps you in the face. That sounds really cool. There also might be world events that happen every once in a while where there is a key objective that kind of happens, and it's your job as your clan to go on over and secure it if you want the shiny loot. So you got all these clans fighting over this one objective. The one that wins gets the loot, of course, but also they need to take it back to their base. They need to take it back to their safe house. And so there might be these PvP events kind of happening all along the way, there and back, because it's not just securing the loot. It's not just getting it into your inventory. It's bringing it back to your safe house and securing it for your team. All of this sounds really, really cool. And so just in general, if you can't tell, I am incredibly excited for Escape from Tarkov. Like I mentioned, it may not go anywhere. This might flop, it may be promising the world, and much like every other game out there that has done something similar, they're under-delivering. And that might be a possibility, but I'm really crossing my fingers that that's not the case, because what I've seen so far and what they're showcasing and talking about, it seems like a game that I could really sink my teeth into and start to invest a lot of time with. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Give me your thoughts on Escape from Tarkov. Are you excited to get your hands on it? Are you remaining skeptical, which is probably the good thing to do here, and you're going to reserve your judgment until we actually get our hands on the game? Let me know down below. But yeah, guys, until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.